This is where making this list gets a little bit harder. I think this guitar and the next few, they're all something that I can really sort of bond with, and if I sit and play them for long enough, you know, they can really feel like they could be my number one. So this is sort of like the upper middle pack. But if you don't know what I'm talking about, this is the second part of this little video series, If I Could Only Have One Guitar. We're going to end this video by, well, I'll tell you what my number one and my number two before that are. I'm also going to do the giveaway winner at the end of this video, so stick around till the end and you'll find out who is going to receive this fantastic pedal. So what is this guitar? This is the Marcus King signature model ES345. I love this thing. Its attention to detail is just phenomenal. Now, let's not beat around the bush. This is the most expensive guitar I've bought. More expensive than my vintage ES355, more expensive than my R9, more, you know, just, it was expensive. But they only made 50 of these. And I think Marcus King is fantastic. He's really full of life and energy and great playing. And, you know, I think he plays a lot of notes. And I imagine as he gets older, he'll pick even better notes and maybe play slightly fewer of them, but I really enjoy watching him play, and really reminds me of some old greats as well, but with his own take on things, and I wanted a piece of that, and I wanted this guitar. I love playing it. It's really different from my 59 ES355, which you're going to see next. And it's different from my 66 ES355. The pickups are really different. It compresses more, but softly. It's like a soft clipping pedal. It doesn't matter what I plug it into, it just sounds great. And it's not just generic. It does sound like how Marcus King sounds. They obviously really put some effort into making this what it is. And it's beautiful, in my opinion. You know, red ES guitars are classic. This has the sort of the whammy bar there, which you're not supposed to use. It tells you not to use it. It's got the varitone, which I don't personally use. I think I need to experiment with that a bit more. But yeah, played through this classic reverb with the mid switch boost on. This guitar is really mid heavy, and it actually really helps it to have that boost. It just, for me, it sounds great. It's got personality, it's got grit. You can play this softly and gently and quite clean. You can play it with lots of dynamics. You can play it super hard. It's just awesome. This part of the list is not in any order. I just wanted to show you this guitar first. I love it. I don't play it that often. I actually don't want to scratch this guitar. I like relic guitars. I don't want this really to be a relic. I love the way it is. So it's a real toy, and I'm really lucky to have this one. I also really like the quite slim neck profile compared to the next guitar. Let's get into that one. It's a completely different beast, even though you might think an ES355 and an ES345, how different can they be? Really different. I was watching a Peach Guitars unboxing video one day. They were unboxing a shipment of Gibson custom shop guitars, and I'd never watched one of those before. I've never watched one since, but I was bored one afternoon and I stuck it on, and about 2/3 of the way through, the guy unboxed this guitar, and before he'd even finished speaking about it, I'd emailed the guy that I'd already bought some other stuff from there, and I said, I don't know how much that thing costs, but I think that's what I've been looking for. I'd wanted an ES guitar that was a bit different, you know. Okay, so this might be black like BB King's, but it's got F-holes. it's just appointed so beautifully as far as I'm concerned. The gold hardware, and I love the tortoise shell pickguard. And I wanted a 59 Les Paul reissue, and I wanted a 59 ES type guitar. So I just did it. And it arrived, and I took it out of the case very carefully. You know, although this is a VOS guitar, I just wanted to be really careful with it. I like, you know, as I've said before, I like relic guitars that suit that more. So I really like relic Telecasters and relic Strats. Less so with Gibson guitars. There's something about that new look on a Gibson, just gorgeous. So anyway, I plugged it in, and immediately I just loved the way that no part of the sort of spectrum of sounds overrode the other. It wasn't wallowing in the bass, it wasn't too shrill, it didn't compress too much. For humbuckers, you know, it's got a nice balance where it will compress, but only to a certain degree. So you might wonder why isn't that guitar my number one? I mean, I really get on with it. It could have been. Had I not found a couple of other guitars, I really get on with this black 59 355, as I do with the Marcus King. And the next couple of guitars could also be number ones. It sounds silly for me saying number one, you know, obviously that's something I think of, like Jimmy Page has his number one. But anyway, it's just the way I'm putting it, I guess, in this video. The 59 is wonderful and great and everything, but it's actually quite hard work to play sometimes. Just the size of the neck is quite big, and it's not so flexible that you can do everything on it. The next guitar, I have got another ES guitar that we'll get to, but the next guitar is possibly the most beautiful specimen of guitar that, for me, that I mean, when I this is the third case guitar that I've got, and when I saw this, I was blown away, and I just played it as well, and yeah, I knew I was smitten. It's beautiful to look at, and it's beautiful to play. For some reason, the other case Les Paul type guitar I said was a bit light. This one's probably even lighter, but it suits it. There's something almost feminine about this guitar, and it just suits the sound of it and the way it plays, and it's just a work of art. So, you know, let's maybe hear a little bit and see what we think. Really get on with that guitar with those pickups. It feels very natural to play that as a single coil. I love the way it breaks up, and I like that in the neck position it can really feel a bit like you're playing a Strat. It has that sort of rounded tone, and in the bridge pickup position it sounds a bit more snarling, but it's really got that vintage vibe to it. Those pickups in there are called the Nantucket pickups by Bare Knuckle. But I also think Jonathan Case really had studied Goldtops a lot. He's got, you know, the greening that you get based on in certain weather conditions or climatic conditions, and the amount of sweat, and just the colouring, and then, you know, his aging I think is pretty good. It hasn't gone over the top. You know, it's just, I love it. I really like that guitar. I've got closer and closer to it over time. Now I've decided I'm going to go now to my number 2 and then my number 1. We're missing out on my 1966 ES 355. I've done a video that you can see here all about how I use that guitar, so I'd love it if you can go and watch that maybe after this. I'll put it down in the description as well. But I feel like I don't want this video to be too long. We want to keep this story going. So the next guitar really was all about going back to the beginning. If you notice, you know, I really like the 50s and also some of the 60s guitars. I love those early looks, the feel, the sound that you can get, and the fact that most of these guitars don't compress too much, you know. You know, this is probably the massivest sound I can create in this room. There's something unusual about this guitar. I feel like it's the opposite of the Friday afternoon special down at the Fender custom shop. I mean, I feel I got lucky with this one, you know, and there's that's just the way it goes, you know. I feel like my DGT maybe wasn't, you know, the best one that came out, and this broadcaster may well, so as far as I'm concerned, it's just the best one I could possibly have had. When I bought this, I love the look of this Blackguard sort of early, well, it's a broadcaster, so it's the earliest pretty much you can get. I didn't expect to want to play it so much. I thought this is part of my collection and it's part of history to have a replica of this. Wow, this thing is ridiculous. I think it took me a while to realise that the massivest sounds you're going to get are from the least compression. Not the, you know, people think of sort of heavy metal as being a big sound. Yeah, that's a wall of sound, but in terms of absolute savagery, this guitar is ridiculous. It's by far the most savage guitar I've got. I mean, I wore my attenuating earbuds while doing that, and that was 2 amps. That was the Bloomfield and the classic reverb going through with a Tula. It was really loud, wonderful to play, but so little compression. I mean, it makes you feel, you know, you can hit every little thing you do. Someone like Josh Smith would probably enjoy that rig. I think he loves having a lack of compression, and I really, really enjoy that. This guitar is just ridiculously good, and I feel blessed to have it. Its neck shape is just wonderful. It's not the same as the 52 reissue. It's much less of a baseball bat. Feels like it's got more of a shape. The pickups are just, as I said, savage. I like the wiring. It's different. So in what looks like the neck position is actually the neck position with maybe I guess a capacitor that drops the tone slightly. Then in the middle position it's the neck pickup again, but with its normal tone as if you had the tone wound up fully. And then the bridge position is the bridge and the neck in blend. So as you use the tone knob, you can blend in more or less of the 2 pickups. So it's good fun, and it just, yeah, I can make some crazy noise with that. I'm sure it doesn't make everyone else happy in the house, that's for sure. Yeah, that for a while, this was my number 1 actually, for a few months. And then one day, I walked into this room that I've got, and I looked at my 59 reissue, and I thought, you've been my dream guitar my whole life. And I've only just picked you up here and there, and just assumed I was a single chord player. Originally, I thought I was a Strat player because that's the guitar I had when I was young, and I just assumed. But I didn't realise until I picked it up again that Strat playing is its own genre, really, like the sort of Strat playing that's become really popular now since John Mayer and everyone now looking back to Stevie Ray Vaughan and all of that sort of stuff. And so I thought, okay, I'm a Telecaster player, and I massively enjoy the Telecaster. Then I had a brief fling with being, you know, a semi-hollow guitar player. That was going to be my main jam. And now, somehow I've ended up being, my number 1 is a Les Paul. I didn't expect it. I don't really, in some ways I don't play it like a Les Paul. You know, it's not for heavy rock. Again, I feel like I got a decent version of this guitar here. I like the pickups, I like the amount of compression, I like the way it cleans up so well, I like the neck. It's beefy, but it's got some shape to it, and it's big enough to make me work hard, but it's not so big that it gets in my way. I love looking at the thing, and this with my Rift Ainsley Lister amp is just one of my guitar heaven places to be. So yeah, at the moment, my search for my thing is really on hiatus. I'm happy with all of the guitars I've shown you over the last 2 videos, and increasingly as we went through, I got to my favorite ones, and the ones where I can spend a whole day playing the Marcus King, I can spend a whole day playing that gold P90 Les Paul, I can spend a whole day with the Broadcaster or the Les Paul and be an absolute, in that joyful position of thinking, I don't need anything more for today, this is it. And the Les Paul now is the sound I want to craft and define as my own more and more and more. The better I get at playing, the more I practice, the more types of styles that I sort of get to know. It's just, it currently feels like my home base. Now, where do I go from there? Well, I am really, really only interested in the 4 main shapes: the Strat, the Tele, the ES guitars and the Les Paul. I can say that comfortably now, that I don't need to look for other shapes. Firebird and Flying V, as someone mentioned that in a comment yesterday, and yes, those are in my periphery as things I really, really want to get hold of. But all I need to do is keep myself on the path of enjoying what I've got. And if I come across something special, if I'm happen to go to a guitar shop and they've got a 1960 reissue, I really want to try one of those, and I enjoy it as much as the 59, well, I'll think about it and maybe enjoy that too. I do really want a 335. I have a 345 and a 355, and I'm currently looking at Collings, Gibson, and although I've started making guitars, I don't think I'm ready to make an ES guitar for at least 3 or 4 years, so I probably would buy one and then maybe make one down the line and see which I should keep. But anyway, safe to say my number 1 is currently that Les Paul, and I love it. And it was a shock to me that that's what I ended up. I thought the Les Paul was going to be a side thing that I'd enjoy occasionally as a sort of curiosity for me, because I hadn't grown up playing Les Pauls. And instead I found that for me, it gives me the most dynamics, it gives me the most comfort, and it makes me feel like I'm playing as me. So, I hope all of you who haven't found your own can sort of keep pursuing that, and eventually you'll find that one. And when you do, you'll know it. There'll be a day you'll be sitting there. It may not be the first day you have that guitar, which is why any guitar you buy, even if you don't like it on the first day, as long as you don't want to return it because you really hate it, pick it up every now and again, and one day you'll probably sit there all day and then you might think, this could be the one. Right. It's time to do the giveaway. I've got to go and cut a load more names. There's quite a few pages here, and put them in my hat, my Nobles box that I use to put all the names in. Here are the previous names, and I'll be back in a second, and we're going to pick out the winner. I'm really excited. After it's been about 5 months since I launched this giveaway, I'm really happy to get it done, send out the pedal, and one of you is going to be really happy. So yeah, back in a sec. Alright guys, there's been a lot more names. I have to actually change the box quite drastically. Previously, all the names fit into this box, and now this is actually the Cherryatone Centura box. So that is actually half the pedal of this. I've got the original box for this as well. So I'm really excited to give this away, largely because I enjoy sort of sharing and giving it out, and secondly because it means I get to think of the next giveaway, which is going to be for 5,000 subs. Right, there's a lot of names in here now. I'm just going to pick. Let's do it. Who's getting this pedal? Right, we've got a name here. This is Raphael Moore. M-O-R. Raphael Moore. I'll put the name on the screen, and I'll put your name down in the first comment as well. So hopefully you watch this. Now, this is going out. Whatever date it goes out, I'll give you a week to get back to me. There'll be an email address in the description box. Email me there. Also comment back on my comment. Be great to hear from you. Hopefully you will be the person who receives this. I'll give you a week, as I said. Otherwise, I'll have to do a relaunch or a sort of picking of the name. But otherwise, guys, I hope you've enjoyed this little series. I've really enjoyed making it. And I'm looking forward to making another video next week. Not sure what it will be about, but anyway, if you want to see that, please subscribe to the channel, and all the thumbs up are appreciated. So yeah, thanks a lot.